Greetings and welcome, all of you. Welcome to Be My Guest. The show is Be My Guest. I am your host, Hamsha Naidu. Today, joining me, we have as my guest, Swati Dave, who will be talking to us about her passion, which is Vedic Math, an easy and simple way to do math. Before we talk about Vedic Math, can you tell me something about yourself?
Sure, but before I start, let me thank you and the ActonTV for giving me this wonderful opportunity. To talk about myself, I'm basically a civil engineer with a postgraduate degree in construction management. Currently, I work as an independent project management and educational consultant. As a project management consultant, I work mostly in the areas of nonprofits and educational publishing. I'm also working with Massasoit Corporate Training Division as their corporate trainer. I teach courses in project management and computers there, and also in Newton, Natick, and Minuteman in their adult community education.
So you're even with Newton, the Newton Public?
Yeah, but this is for the adult community education that I do my courses in project management and application of computers to project management.
Which is totally different from mathematics. But I guess everything is linked somehow.
Somehow it is, yeah. This is my passion, and I have another passion, which is project management.
Oh, nice.
And so to take it further, I just kind of designed my own courses, and I'm teaching in this adult community where it's needed. And it's mostly attended by professionals. And it's a great experience to just talk to people who are actually working and bringing my learning from the field to the classroom.
Okay, well, seeing that today we want to talk about Vedic Math, let's not go too much about, I'm very, very impressed with all that you do, and thank you for being so helpful to the public. And so can you tell me and the viewers what exactly Vedic Math is?
Yeah, Vedic Math it comes from Vedas. The basic Vedic comes from Vedas, and Veda means knowledge, and it is believed that Vedic Math can trace its origins to ancient Indian scriptures or Vedas. It's an amazing system which has been designed and conceived and developed by Shankaracharya Bharati Krishna Tirthaji in early 1900s.
So to get back, so the actual word Veda comes from India.
It does, and it comes from, so that's the reason it's called as Vedic Math, because it's kind of connected. The story is that you can find references to this in ancient scriptures.
So Vedic as in V-E-D-I-C.
Correct.
So
correct.
And that's
Vedic. Yeah, I mean people can call it Vedic. Yeah.
So and that is really, really ancient math.
It is ancient. I mean, it came together as a subject or as a system, but when Bharati Krishna Tirthaji studied the ancient Vedas and came up with this whole system. And it is basically just based on 16 sutras, sutras are nothing but formulas, and 13 upasutras or sub-formulae as we call them. And
so all these terms you're using is actually Sanskrit, am I right?
They're actually Sanskrit. And what he did was he just gave us the 16 sutras, which are nothing but one-line Sanskrit formulae.
Right.
And based on that, this is its application in everything in arithmetic, algebra, geometry. There's a lot of research going on still into his study and making this available to masses. Because
when you're saying, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. When you're saying that a lot of research still going on, so the newer generation is looking into it even further.
I mean, newer scholars of math, and we had, amazing research is still going on to understand. And
how did their brain
work, and what are its application, and are there any areas of mathematics still which are not which do not have application and can we still apply to it.
To find new formulas.
Find new formula. It's a very different system, you know. It's you need to understand and study it to see its application. Right. It's not that everything is there.
Right.
It just kind of gets your brain thinking, and you started looking at math in a very different term. So people may argue that this was not in ancient Vedas, but what it's doing to our brains is it is asking us to look into it more, find newer patterns. It's all about sutra. Again, it means patterns.
Okay.
And it's a very natural thought processes. So for example, one sutra, which means that ekadhiken purvin, it means that how do you develop your thoughts from as a basis, like, you know, if you're going from one thought to another, it's your natural thought process.
Okay.
So it's as simple as that. So and its applications are varied. Its applications are in arithmetic, algebra, geometry, calculus, and everything.
So you brought us some slides to show us.
I did, and I'm just going to show you some slides and show you what those sutras look like, because they're in Sanskrit. And so basically, when I say what is Vedic math, it's a system or set of strategies to solve a range of mathematical problems. And as you see, it has its application in arithmetic, geometry, and algebra. And in the center, you see the 16 sutras and 13 upasutras that I have put in there. So what it means that those 16 sutras and 13 upasutras can be applied to study arithmetic, geometry, and algebra.
So for those who don't know, arithmetic, algebra, and geometry are three different subsets of the one subject, mathematics.
Correct. And what I mean is, like, sometimes in school you really do not see connection, because in elementary school you're studying arithmetic, suddenly you're introduced to algebra, and then there's something like geometry. But this Vedic math brings everything together. It's a cohesive system. There is always a link between how arithmetic and algebra work together. So it's not disconnected, because you often hear kids start saying that, oh, I learned algebra, but how is it related to what I studied in arithmetic? You know, they feel they're pretty disjointed subjects when they're not.
And the thing is, if you look at our school system, we start off with arithmetic, am I right?
We do, and then move on to algebra,
and then you come
to move to geometry, or, you know, you're parallelly studying geometry
and algebra.
But now the more more focus is in starting early and giving it. There has to be connection, and that's the reason why kids find it very disconnected.
So that's why I was thinking that, you know, people don't think, at least here in the US, that they are connected, because the school system is breaking it.
It's breaking, and it's not a very smooth transition, and there isn't a lot of linkage that's shown, like, okay, I mean, and I think the most important thing that happens when you study math in school is you're learning and you're not thinking.
That's at least for me. That's exactly what it is, because you know what? Somebody puts the word mathematics in front of me, and I am blanked out. Yet you give me a recipe, and in no time I can double it, triple it, divide it, multiply it, you know, whatever I can do. Everything works in a simple recipe. Working when you have to cook and feed yourself in a kitchen, you're using, well, maybe arithmetic, but you're using other things too.
Sure, you're using measurements, you're using proportions, because sometimes the recipe is for 6 people, you're cooking for 2 people.
Exactly.
Yes, I understand there is tons of argument going on. I have my cell phone today, I have my calculator on my hand. Why do I need to? Listen, every time you're not going to have a calculator.
No. Just think of yourself being in a desert where there's no...
I mean, it's not even desert. Think about boardrooms, you know, professionals making those decisions in split seconds.
That's true.
You know, somebody is telling, okay, I'll take out 10% from here, I'm going to put 20% here, I'm going to do, and you're still, and you're like, really, what's happening here? At that time, you need to at least work very fast. You're not going to use your calculator and so, no, this is not right. You know, so application of this fast calculations, easy calculations is many. It's not just restricted to school, it's not restricted to teachers, it's for adults who have had some kind of phobia growing up or have blanked out, like arithmetic, you know. Even if I ask my I mean, my husband, like 15 times 30, he'll take out his calculator because either he doesn't trust his brain or he just doesn't want to exert his brain.
Okay. So you want to show us a little bit of examples on the
Yeah,
whiteboard?
before that, can we just see something about the sutras? I just wanted to show the sutras to the viewers. Like these are sutras, and as I said, on the left hand side what you see are those 16 sutras, and on the right hand side are the 13 Upasutras, and they are one sentence Sanskrit lines, and now
like
they're
said,
translated in English.
I'm sorry. But before you go on to that, again you said sutras are just formulas.
They are formulae or they are patterns, whatever you look
and
at it.
Upasutras is a subset.
Are corollaries.
Because we're using these new words in our viewers may not
so
understand.
sutra is theorems.
Theorems.
Something like that, or formulae, or whatever you could call, or framework to work in.
I think maybe framework would be the easiest.
So when I say Ekadikin Purva, it just means that one more than the one before.
Right.
And again, people will say, what does it mean? How do I apply it to math? And then I can show how does this all get connected when I'm talking about. And before I go on to this, I also wanted to stress as to why Vedic math? Like, why do we want to learn Vedic math at all? What are the advantages?
Yes, I was going to ask that question after you're done there, but
yeah,
it's fine.
but I'm just, because I want viewers to look into it, and there are many features of Vedic math which are very useful.
And unique probably.
And unique also. Most of the Vedic math calculations can be done in one line. You do not have to go through 10 steps to get your answer.
Okay.
And because the steps are less, the chances of making error decreases. You know, you go into 10 different steps and you make 5 to 6 and you're wrong. Your answer is wrong, and it's nothing to do with your understanding, but it's just more the number of steps, the more are your chances of error. And the second unique feature of Vedic math is it always teaches you more than one way to do a problem.
That's nice.
So you're not stuck with the rigid conventional math. Like if I have to do 35 times 68, I just know one way to do it. But Vedic math is definitely going to teach you more than one way to do it. So what happens if a student is given a problem, they're looking at it, they have in their toolbox more than one way, they're going to look at the problem and apply the best possible. What else is this? This is your problem solving skills.
Well, you know, people will maybe argue about, you know, there are different ways of working out the multiplications and divisions too, but
yeah, there are. I mean, again, but how many different ways? So this is one more in your toolbox. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying this is the only one.
That is true.
So
we want to give a varied way of looking into math
and
make it interesting.
And again, it's all as I said, it's all about patterns. So
patterns.
It suits to the learning ability of all people. You know, some kids are more visual.
Right. Oh yes,
and for
I know that. Yes.
And for them, math becomes very abstract because there isn't much images or any stories that you can attach to math.
Yeah.
But looking at the patterns make it more interesting, more visual for them, and they suddenly find it more interesting. And to the extent that the methods are so easy that sometimes it just looks like magic.
Then that's what you want.
And when you say, and the kids really think that it's magic, they get excited, they want to do more because they suddenly feel they have the power. And again, the methods can be applied, like once you know the rule, it can be applied to a smaller number or a 5-digit number or a 10-digit number.
Right.
Just imagine a second grader being able to do multiplication of 5-digit number, and he or she is like, I'm going to show it to my sister that I can do a 5-digit, and they feel confidence, and that's the whole thing about it.
You want to build confidence.
Confidence and make them understand that numbers are their friends.
So you're going to be showing us some examples on the board, how you're working, today you're doing a little bit on square roots?
Squares, yeah,
squares.
Definitely.
Squares.
So when I say it's all about patterns, I mean, I just wanted to show some example to make the viewers understand what do I mean when I say it's all about patterns. So you see here, if I had to calculate 75 square, 85 square, or 35 square, and I'm just writing these numbers, right? 75 square, that is 75 is this is 72, 25, and 35. Now, if the kids come to class, I'm going to ask them, what do you see as a pattern between this? Is there a pattern? Do you think their answers have some patterns? Okay, the first thing that the kids might notice is it always ends on 25, right? So we get that when you're finding a square of numbers ending in 5, the last 2 digits are always going to be 25.
So it's almost always when it's
always
5.
going to be 25,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to, okay, how do I get 56? 56 and I have 7 here.
Yeah.
So how do I get 56? So 7 times 8, correct? 56. And I'm just going to show you, and then you can see the patterns. 8 times 9 and 3 times 4. So what am I doing here? I'm taking this digit and multiplying by 1 more. 7 times 8 is 56.
Right.
8 times 9 is 72. And 3 times 4 is 12.
All right, so all what you're doing is now, instead of doing 7 times 7.
No, I'm not doing any of those.
Right.
So if suppose somebody tells me do 65 square, right? I can
get it in no
mentally, because what I'm doing is 6 times 7 is 42, and I know my last digit is
25. And the other thing is, it's still good to know your tables. I mean, when we were growing up, we always needed to know our tables.
No, tables are always
right.
You know,
9, 9, 81.
Those are the tools, and 1 to 10 tables are a must for any of
so
the.
Step number 1 is master the tables.
Master the tables, and then this whole thing becomes very easy.
Very, very easy.
And learn. And what happens is after 1 or 2 classes, the kids themselves understand that there is something going on here. There is some pattern going on here, and again, it's how you teach. You're not going to give them rules. You're going to ask them how to find the rules.
This is very, very
and
nice.
that's very creative, because you're not telling them what to do, but they're telling you what to do.
And children love that.
And yes, and maybe the kids come up with so many different ways to do the same thing, and there is no right or wrong answer for this, because it's their way.
Right.
And so it just takes away that rigidity of doing one way of calculation and gives kids the power back on them.
Now that you have shown us this amazing system, really amazing, we want to learn more. How do you plan to bring the learning to our viewers?
Well, thanks to ActonTV and you, we have planned a series of episodes for viewers, and what we're going to do is each episode would be focused on one of the mathematical functions like addition or subtraction. So we'll teach, in that episode, we'll teach you all different ways of doing addition, subtraction in an easy, simple way. And then we move on to multiplication, division, fractions, decimals, percentages, geometry, everything and anything that you want to learn.
Okay, and it'll be nice if I'm definitely producing the show for you, but I'd love audience feedback also. So every now and again, that'll be great too. So who is your target audience?
Yeah, so this show is for anyone and everyone who likes math and who does not like math. I'm sure kids and people will, once they see these methods, they might start liking math, and I have had kids and people who have started liking math. And I want to focus this more on the teachers, because what I think is it's an amazing tool to be used in a conventional math classroom.
Okay.
And teaching kids different ways are always very helpful.
Oh yes, for sure. It's more to bring interest and
correct.
So then, I also know you are one of the founding members of the Institute for VM. Can you please tell us more? Tell me something about that, and what is the mission of the Institute?
Yeah, so this is a global institute called as Institute for Advancement of Vedic Mathematics. It has a global presence. It's a non-profit, or what we call as a charitable organization in UK. It is registered in UK, and the mission is just to promote Vedic math and help people and help schools who want to integrate Vedic math into their classroom, promote the teacher training programs, create resources, promote more research, and everything that's needed to bring Vedic math into the math classrooms, because the fear of math or the anxiety of math is a growing concern in not only for students but even for adults. And educators, parents are always looking for a newer way and an easier way to make math more interesting for the students. And this is one of the way through Vedic Math. And I'm sure, and we have studies which have proved that the confidence has increased, improved, and the anxiety has gone down. The kids have started loving math. And it's all for people to just take it. And for me, what is more important is that people know that something like this exists.
Oh, yeah, that's
because that's it. Like, you know, even if you use it, don't use it, but for me, creating awareness is what's more important, that this is.
And I am so grateful that you have decided to do this to the general public. So actually this can go globally. It doesn't have to just be Acton. And it's,
yeah,
you know,
I know, that's amazing.
And yes, like I was saying, I'm grateful that, you know, you're taking time off, which is not your subject right now. You don't have children in school at this moment. I mean, you do have, but they are grown children. You have more like adult children right now, am I right?
Correct, yeah.
And so you're now just giving back. This is your way of giving back to the community. And I'm so excited to be the producer, because for me, mathematics was a blanket school, you know. And
no, it's for many people, and it doesn't have to be. And that's the reason we say that the name of our show is going to be Math for All.
Math for all.
Because it doesn't have to be restricted to the students, or it's for adults. And again, as I said, we had somebody in Florida who did Vedic Math programs for the seniors, and the people were actually so happy that they you know, later in their life, they thought, okay, I'm not so stupid after all, because I can still do math.
Right. And you also, you do some promotion in Australia, some, not as promotion, but you are
yeah, I work as an educational consultant, and I work as an advisor to an educational foundation in India, a math foundation in Australia, a non-profit in Burlington. Yeah, because for me, education, and basically the early education, is something that I think I really, because that's where the foundation for the kids is built.
Right.
And I'm trying my best to utilize my understanding, passion, and my time that if I have.
Yes, well, I'm trying to share my knowledge with Flavorful Eats. So you have food for the brain. Fat is good for the brain. And you can do exercise for the brain.
Yeah, no, this is exactly.
Together we have a good team.
We even want to explore it, like whether it's good for people with, you know, seniors. Yeah.
Yeah, so with that, you know, like we said, we are so happy to have a future show together called Math for All.
Yep, Math for All. And we'll start it as soon as possible, mostly next week.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with me, and we're looking forward to the future series. And yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes.